Hey everyone, today is my birthday and I thought, what better way to celebrate the end of my 20s than to watch all four of the Shrek movies. I was actually gonna watch Puss in Boots as well, but it turns out that 6 hours of Shrek is actually enough. Okay, so Shrek franchise. You got Mike Myers, he's Shrek. You got Eddie Murphy, he's Donkey. You got Cameron Diaz, she's Princess Fiona. You got all kinds of famous people. So, Shrek 1. 2001 is when it came out, which astounds me. But so in the first movie, Shrek's an ogre, and all these fairy tale creatures are being banished by Lord Farquaad, who's voiced by John Lithgow. And they all end up in Shrek's swamp, so he goes to Lord Farquaad, and Lord Farquaad's like, well, bring me a princess and I'll get them out of your swamp. And so he goes to rescue Princess Fiona, and then they end up, having a thing. Fiona turns into an ogre at night. Also, Donkey, voiced by Eddie Murphy, is Shrek's sidekick, I guess.
I like that boulder. That is a nice boulder.
I really like the first Shrek because it has a very simple premise. Saving a princess, falling in love, true love, all that good stuff. But it also has this added layer of, how the world perceives us and how we perceive ourselves. And how we perceive ourselves is often influenced by how other people see us and how they treat us and things like that. So of course Shrek is perceived as this evil creature, violent creature, and he really isn't, but he acts that way because that's how the world expects him to act. And Fiona is going through almost exactly the same thing, only she's supposed to be a beautiful, delicate princess, and she has this side that's, an ogre ugly, is like okay with bodily functions and is cool like eating rat off a stick and stuff. And what I think is really special is they find each other, and their true love is that they can be themselves, right? They can be comfortable with each other. So there are like lots of layers, onion layers to the first Shrek movie, and I love it. I think it's great. Okay, Shrek 2 was done in 2004. And the basic premise of Shrek 2 is just, Shrek and Fiona are now married, but Fiona's parents, who are king and queen of the kingdom far, far away, call them back. And then you find out Fiona's father made a deal with the fairy godmother so that her son, Prince Charming, would marry Fiona. And so then there's just all this chaos that ensues. I like Shrek 2 even more than Shrek 1 because what's fun about Shrek 2 is all like the little details in the background. When they go to Far, Far Away, it's basically like Beverly Hills or something, and so it's so much fun to look in the background and see like the different names of shops and stuff. They have tons of pop culture references too. There's like Lord of the Rings and Spider-Man. So if you're paying attention, you catch them, and it has a lot of rewatchability because of that. Also, a line I quote from Shrek 2 all the time is this.
Well, this is it.
This is it.
This is it. This is it.
Specifically this last one.
This is it.
I don't know why, it's just stuck in my head, but I say this is it all the time. Oh, I didn't even talk about Puss in Boots because Fiona's dad, the king, hires a hitman to, kill Shrek, and it's Puss in Boots. And it's Antonio Banderas who does the voice of Puss. And the one thing I really love to imagine is Antonio Banderas in the recording studio recording the noises for this scene. That alone just gives me so much joy. Okay, now it's time to move on to Shrek 3, which was made in 2007. I really don't understand this movie, I don't. The plot was what? So the king is on his deathbed, and mind you, he is Fiona's father, right? But he turns to Shrek and he's like, there needs to be a new king and you will be my successor. But I guess if you don't want to or whatever, Fiona has a cousin. What? Fiona is your daughter. Like, she would be the successor, right? This doesn't make any sense. Why would Shrek be the successor? And then it's just like, I'm getting heated about it, right? Because then Fiona's whole plot is that she wants to have babies and then she's pregnant and then it's just about, like, she has a baby shower. For a moment, come with me for a moment on a journey of what Shrek 3 could have been, right? Because it could have been that, yes, Fiona's father was dying, and how about Shrek 3 is Fiona becoming queen, right? Fiona taking responsibilities, Fiona, becoming the ruler that she's meant to be through her succession. And think about Fiona flourishing, right? And think about, this is a very natural strain that could be put upon their relationship, right? Because Shrek is a little bit of an asshole who just wants to be in his swamp, and I get it. He was, he had a rough childhood, I understand. But so they could have a natural sort of tension in their relationship. They could still have some of the stuff about kids. Also, imagine Fiona did want to be a mother and she also wanted to be a ruler. Imagine that struggle. It felt to me like they really didn't want to focus on Fiona at all. They wanted to focus on Shrek. And it just bugged me because the movie could have been so much better. It could have been a real struggle about adulthood, right? Because that's, when we get down to it, that is what Shrek is struggling with. He's struggling with becoming an adult, right, and becoming a father and raising a kid, right, that next step in his life. And so imagine a movie that's about, Shrek and Fiona becoming adults and having responsibilities and, thinking about kids and that sort of stuff. I'm upset. There was also this really disgusting scene.
Whoa! Whoa!
Okay. So that brings me to Shrek 4, which was made in 2010. Shrek 4 is better than Shrek 3, for sure. It's a very typical, like, what would happen if we undid everything that happened in the series already? Which is like, okay. But the main villain is Rumpelstiltskin, and boy, is he creepy.
Oh, I'm not a real boy.
You wanna be?
Yeah, there's a whole thing where Shrek's like, I hate being a parent, and I wish I could go back to before I met you, Fiona, and, be an ogre again and have no responsibility. But so then he signs a contract with Rumpelstiltskin, and, of course, old Rumpy kind of does him a bamboozle, and it's as if Shrek was never born, and then he has one day, and in order to break the contract, he has to have his true love's kiss with Fiona. And I think they did a good job of fixing what they completely messed up in the third one by making Fiona this badass ogre warrior princess. I love it. Honestly, probably an unpopular opinion, but I almost like Rumpelstiltskin universe better. She's leading an ogre army to battle for far, far away, and I think it's just kind of a bummer, just a little bit, that, like, there's a little bit of an insinuation there that you can be one of two things. You cannot be both. You can't be a mother and also a badass warrior. Like, you can only be one. It's like one reality or the other. And it's also kind of the insinuation, like, because she didn't have this true love's kiss, she couldn't live out her ultimate destiny of being a wife and mother. And that to me is a little Ooh, also I forgot, oh my god, Puss in Boots, because everyone has like a different thing going on because it's an alternate timeline, and Puss in Boots, he's a fat cat. There is honestly nothing more lovely and pure than just a really chunky cat. Anyway, that's all I got on Shrek. 'Twas a pleasure. Thanks for listening. I would encourage everyone to watch the Shrek movies. Or not. You don't need to. But they're fun, except for the third one. Just skip it. Anyway, watch lots of movies. Drink Lots of coffee, probably not as much as I have had today because I feel like I'm really on the verge of a nervous breakdown. And yeah, hope you have a good one. See you next time.